I'm back with part two of my CD collection. I appreciate all the comments in the comment section. I love you guys' feedback, and I love hear I love to hear what you gotta say. So, without further ado, here's part two. Um, First up, we got Redman's second album, There's the Dark Side, 1994. This is my personal favorite Redman album and one of my favorite albums of all time. He did a lot of the production on here by himself, Of course, you got Eric Sherman, but I love this album, Some real spaced out, dark, gritty, grimy New York stuff right here, man. Favorite Redman album. And then we got Smith and Wesson's first album, The Shining, 1995. This is another classic, East Coast album, production on here is just really good. Man, what more can I say about this album? Just great album, Smith and Wesson, The Shining, 1995. Inspector Deck's first solo album, Uncontrolled Substance, 1999. When this album first came out, I really loved it. Nowadays, going back and listening to it, I don't think it's quite as good as I first thought. Some of the production, could have been better, but this album, I pick, it's worth picking up just for the lyrics alone. Inspector Deck kills it. Overall, it's not a bad album by any means, though. Pretty dope album from '99. Fans of Wu-Tang Clan and everything should definitely pick this one up. Then we got another one of my personal favorites, Kool G Rap and DJ Polo's second album, Wanted Dead or Alive. It's hard to say which one's my favorite between them. It's either this one or Live and Let Die. Both are classics, man. This is early 90s New York stuff. Man, if you're a fan of Kool G Rap, you should own this one. We got The Game, Doctor's Advocate. My personal favorite by him. Even The Game said this is his best album in his opinion, so everybody should know what's up with this album. Then we got Lloyd Banks' second album, Rotten Apple. I listened to this one last night. I just got in the mail a couple days ago. I wasn't too crazy about it, man. I just think it could have been way better. I liked maybe the first 7 tracks, and after that, it just kind of, number 11, Stranger is a good one, but just kind of a mediocre album overall, Lloyd Banks, 2006, Rotten Apple. Then we got AZ's second album, Pieces of Man. Pieces of a Man. I fucking love this album, to me this one's right up there with Do or Die. Some might even like this one better, Me personally, I think it's just as good as Do or Die. I think it's a very slept on album, Definitely was the best of '98. We got Jizz the Liquid Swords, no more classic Wu-Tang stuff. 1995. Everyone should know about this album. And then we got MOP's first album, To the Death. This whole thing was produced by DR Period. I think another great producer coming out of the East Coast. I fucking love this album. I think it's a classic. I don't think there's any bad songs on the whole album. To me, this is their best album. A lot of people like their '96 album the best, but to me, this one's better. And I just love the production on this album. Classic album in my opinion. You should definitely get this one. I was fortunate enough to get the OG copy. It's kind of hard to find, so. And then we got A Trip to No Limit. We got Mr. Serv-On. Life Insurance. I'm not the biggest fan of No Limit. I mean, not saying they're bad, but overall it was a pretty good album as far as No Limit goes. You got some pretty dope beats on here on a few tracks. I mainly my favorite thing about this album was the production. But pretty good album from No Limit. Mr. Serv-On Life Insurance '97. This is another OG copy. I think it's out of print. I don't think they have a reissue, so. Then we got Smooth the Hustler's album. Once Upon a Time in America. If you don't know who Smooth the Hustler is, he's a rapper out of New York, of course. His brother's Trigger the Gambler. Most people have probably heard the song Broken Language with him and his brother, which is on this album. Overall it was a pretty good album. Smooth Hustler is a really good rapper. My only complaint was some of the production could have been better. It kind of falls off in the second half of the album, but not quite a classic, but a really good album from '96, and worth having in your collection, definitely. Then we got Raekwon's most recent offering, Fly International Luxurious Art. When I first heard this album, I didn't like it at all. But now that I've gave it a more thorough listen, I really love this album. I really like it, I should say. I don't think it's a bad album at all. I think it's better than the Lex Diamond Theory. It's definitely 2015. It's got a lot of guest features. But he's trying to cater more to the today's audience, I should say, which I can't blame him. I mean, most people are going to complain, not like this album because it's not like his other albums, but be optimistic, and to me it's a really good album. I mean, Raekwon is always coming with the ill rhymes, and production on here is not bad, really. Then we got one of my more recent additions to my collection, King T's The Triflin' album. I just listened to this one last night. It's a really fun album, pretty good. Probably one of the better West Coast albums of '93. Pretty good album from King T. I want to say you got the first introduction of the Alcoholics on here. I think it's the first appearance on Wax. But Really dope album. You should add it to your collection. And then I got Redman's third album, Muddy Waters. Everyone should know about this one, of course. The general consensus is this is his best album, you know. Like I said earlier, There's Dark Sides is my favorite, but this one's right behind it. You know, Redman, Muddy Waters, 1996. And then we got MC Ren's, not really his first album, but it's his first EP, Kiss My Black Ass, 1992. I haven't listened to this one in a long time, but overall it's pretty dope. You know, you got more of the NWA sound on that one, you know, as opposed to his later albums. This EP is mainly known for that song, The Final Frontier. You know, pretty dope EP from MC Ren. That's his only release to ever go platinum too. And we got LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out, 1990. I'm a big LL Cool J fan. You know, I know a lot of you're more pure purist out there. Aren't really, but you know, LL Cool J was the ladies' man like Drake was before Drake even existed. You know, but LL Cool J was some real hip hop. Classic album from 1990. One of his best albums. Yeah, LL Cool J, Mom Said Knock You Out. And I got Rick Ross's Mastermind. I only have 2 Rick Ross CDs, this one and Teflon Don. I personally really like this album, you know. I thought it was dope. You know, as far as Rick Ross goes, you know, you gotta take him for what it is, you know. Don't put much thought into listening to a Rick Ross album, you know. Just sit back and enjoy the beats, you know. But you got some really dope songs on here. You got even some features by Scarface, you know, and Jay-Z. But dope album from Rick Ross, you know. I was really kind of impressed with this one. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations coming into that one. I got Scarface's 1997 album, The Untouchable. Really good album from Scarface, you know, one of his better ones. I mean, he's got one of the best catalogs, you know, in rap, period. More of a Scarface has always kind of had a West Coast sound as far as his beats goes, which is definitely evident on here. You know, you even got features from Dr. Dre and Daz. I want to say Daz produced a track on here, and he's featured, you know. This one's known from, you got the song Smile and Game Over with Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and Too Short. But one of my favorite Scarface albums, definitely, 1997. Then we got 8 Ball and MJG's On Top of the World, 1995. This is kind of really my first introduction to 8 Ball and MJG. Really dope album, you know. The production definitely stepped up on this one. know, probably to me, this is their second best album. You know, I'm still a fan of Coming Out Hard. That's my favorite album by them, but this is the OG copy too. I look at my favorite album from EPMD, Business as Usual. I think overall it's just my favorite produced album by them, as far as beats go, and LL Cool J's verse on Rampage, man, I don't care what no one says, that's one of the hardest verses of all time, man. He just goes off on that song. EPMD, Business as Usual, 1990. And we got Eric Sherman's first solo album, No Pressure. And another album I really fucking love, you know, man, Eric Sherman's just one of the greatest producers of the 90s, in my opinion. And, it's just got an overall, cohesive sound to it, you know, might sound kind of dated nowadays, but if you're a fan of early 90s stuff, definitely pick this one up. To me, it's kind of a continuation of sorts of the EPMD sound, you know. Really good album, though. I love Eric Sherman's first two albums. You should definitely pick this one up. And we got De La Soul, Stakes is High. Another classic from '96. Man, I think this is my first introduction to De La Soul. You know, you got appearances from Mos Def. I think it was his first appearance on Wax, was this album. But probably my second favorite De La Soul album. We got MOP's Firing Squad, 1996. Overall, pretty dope album, you know. To me, not quite as good as their first album, but dope album. Yeah. If you get this album, you definitely gotta listen to Stick to Your Guns. It's got this ill Cool G rap verse on there. Then we got Heavy D's. Heavy D and the Boys' second full-length album, Peaceful Journey. Or third album, actually, I'm sorry. Fans of Heavy D, you know, I think Heavy D is a very underrated rapper. As far as subject matter goes, he's kind of like LL Cool J in sort of ways, you know. Kind of popish, but I don't complain, I like it. I got all Heavy D stuff, I like Heavy D. A good album, you know. Really good album. Probably best known for the song Now That We Found Love. And we got a very dope album from Slick Rick, The Art of Storytelling. This is my favorite album by him. Man, if you haven't, if you don't have any Slick Rick albums or are new to Slick Rick, I'll probably pick this one up and then work your way back, you know. Fucking dope album. Really, one of the best albums of '99 in my opinion. We got Naughty by Nature's first album, self-titled. Overall, it's a pretty good album, you know. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but you know, you got OPP and Uptown Anthem on this one. Dope album from Naughty by Nature. Then we got Ghostface, the Pretty Tony album. This is when he first signed to Def Jam. You know, back in the day, I really loved this album. You know, it was still a pretty good album, but I don't know. Nowadays, it just doesn't have that same feeling to me that it did back then. But pretty good album from Ghostface, you know. Sorry. And we got Ice-T's second album, Power, from 1988. This is a dope album, man. I love Ice-T. I'm a big fan of Ice-T. Probably my favorite album by him. You got his first wife, Darlene, on there. Not no. Um, Dope album from Ice-T. And we got a very slept on album from LL Cool J, 14 Shots to the Dome. Man, a lot of people hated on this album when it first came out. But going back, you know, nowadays it really not as bad as a lot of people thought it was, you know. It's a pretty good album, you know. One of my favorites from LL Cool J. He kind of picks up more of a, you know, hardcore gangster vibe on this album, and you can tell on the lyrics, but you know, dope album from LL Cool J. Check it out. Then we got Pete Rock's first solo album after Pete Rock and CL Smooth broke up, Soul Survivor. You know, I liked it. I thought it could have been a little better, you know, but it's got some classic songs on here, you know. You got, you know, it's basically just Pete Rock and a lot of guest features. But you got some songs from MCA, you know, Method Man and Spectre Deck and Corrupt, you know. Dope album from Pete Rock. And then we got The Games, new album, Documentary 2, Disc 1. I really like this album, you know. I don't, a lot of people say it's kind of a return to form for The Game. I don't think he ever fell off personally. I think he's really underrated and gets a lot of hate. I don't know why, you know, but, you know, the production on this one's pretty tight. I love the first 5 songs on this album. But you know, it really just flows together really good. And I think the sequencing on this one, the whole album just kind of flows together great, you know. But not a bad album at all. You know, it's hard to really say where it kind of falls in his catalog as far as, you know, his best album. But, you know, a great album from 2015. And then we got my favorite album by Das EFX, Straight Up Suicide. Man, if you haven't heard this album, you need to check it out. 1993. Dope. And then we got Ghetto Boys The Resurrection, 1996. Their best album by far. You know, you just got classic album, man. I read a long time ago Chris Rock picked this album for one in his favorite albums list, you know, and well deserving. It's a great album by the Ghetto Boys. Man, everybody's just in top form on that album. And then I got The Game's Red Album. You know, when this album first came out, I kind of didn't like it. I mean, I did, but there's just such a big departure from the first 3. But, you know, going back and listening to it, it's a really dope album, you know. I think all his albums are really kind of underrated. You know, got a lot of different producers on here. I think the executive producer on here was Pharrell, but you know, you got almost a different producer on every track. But Really good album from the game. So we got my favorite my favorite Outkast album, ATLiens, 1996. You know, this was a big departure from their first album, Southern Playlist Cadillac Music. But to me, this is when Outkast really came to be the Outkast they're known for today. You know, everybody should know about this one. If you don't have it, you need to get it. I'll do a couple more. We got Busta Rhymes' first album, The Coming, 1996. I'm a big Busta Rhymes fan, you know. I don't think he's really. Maybe that last album by him wasn't. But all his albums in the 90s are damn near classics, you know, and that goes for this one too. Pick it up. And then we got one of my personal favorites from '96, The Roots, Philadelphia Half-Life. It's kind of hard to say. Man, this is their best album in my opinion. I haven't heard all their albums actually, so I guess I can't say that, but I've heard most of them. Man, if you don't know about this one, you need to pick it up. One of the greatest albums of the 90s in my opinion. Just beats on here are crazy. And I think Black Thought's one of the most underrated MCs ever. Man. The Roots, Philadelphia Half-Life, 1996. And then we got Tribe Called Quest's 98 album, Love Movement. You know, probably their weakest album, you know, but not a bad album, I guess. I'm just not really that fond of it, you know. I only liked a few songs, you know, but even the bad album by Tribe Called Quest is 90% better than 99% of half the stuff out there, so, you know, pick it up. If you're a fan of Tribe Called Quest, you know, it's worth having anyways. And we got my favorite Naughty by Nature album, 1993. 1993. And yeah, just a dope album by Naughty by Nature, man. And then we got my personal favorite Ice Cube album, Death Certificate. You got some really controversial stuff on here. You know, this is back when Ice Cube was in his prime. To me, his first 4 albums are all classics, period. I don't care what nobody says, you know. Fucking dope album. This is the OG copy, too. Alright, this is the last one I'm gonna do for this one. Mobb Deep's Murder Music, 1999. This is another group, or you know, I think their first 3 albums are classics. This one's not quite as good as the first 2, you know, but it's just right up there, really. You know, what can I say? I mean, fans of Mobb Deep should already know about this. Alright, well, that's part 2. Thanks for watching. Please leave your feedback. Peace and one love.